Welcome to the Woman Who Lived podcast.
Sam, hello Sue, how are you?
Hi.
I hope you are keeping well. Thank you for joining me today and taking the time out of your busy schedule because I know you are two very busy girls. So I'll just start then just by getting you to introduce yourselves just for anybody who might not know you that are watching this.
No problem. I'm Sam Taylor. I'm a Welsh strongwoman from Cardiff in South Wales.
Sue Taylor Franklin, Sam's better half, from Cardiff, South Wales. So strong woman, but my preferred thing is deadlifting.
Deadlifting, cool. So I'll just crack into it then. How did the two of you meet then?
Well, Facebook.
Yeah, we had lots of mutual friends on Facebook, didn't we?
Did you know each other like, because you are both from Cardiff, didn't you say?
Yeah.
So did you know each other like beforehand?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, so we both lived in a little sort of seaside town about 10 miles from Cardiff called Barry, and we were both living there. So we kind of knew each other, but it wasn't until we sort of started on chatting on Facebook that we sort of got to know each other. So yeah, I always say, oh, don't say Facebook, it sounds like internet dating, but yeah, it was Facebook.
Yeah, but what it was as well, Sam added me as a friend because she knew who I was, I knew who she was. On March the 16th, I know that because she wished me a happy birthday Eve.
Oh.
We've got the same birthday. So
no way.
Yeah. So I didn't realise at the time it was her birthday as well, but she knew my birthday. So yeah. So that's how it started, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. That was
2016.
Yeah, years ago.
And here you are today, the two world's strongest women.
Yeah.
So how did you do any sports before you got into strong woman?
Yeah, when I was younger, I rode horses, and I used to sort of show horses competitively. And then later on, I got into playing football. So I wanted to play football my whole life, but back in my generation, girls weren't allowed to play football. So my football career was sort of kicking the ball around the park with the boys. And then when I moved to Cardiff, I discovered that in Cardiff, girls could play football. So I joined a few local teams, and we had a bit of success. And then I started in the gym. So I've always been sort of sporty and quite competitive, but yeah, nothing like till I started strong woman.
and I wasn't sporty at all. I would rather the pub, get drunk. Do you know what I mean? It was that sort of thing. Obviously, that all stopped in 2010 when I had Ollie.
Yeah.
And I actually became a grown-up then, so and that all stopped. But I've never been sporty. Always liked outdoors, walking and stuff like that, but never sport as such.
And you were both into strong woman before you met each other as well, weren't you?
No.
You got that into it together then?
Yeah. So I started going to the gym after an abusive relationship and a bit of a mental health breakdown. And it was just literally to get me out the door. I'd never been to a gym before in my life, so it was really out of my comfort zone. And I didn't even have a clue what I was doing in the gym, so I just sort of learned as I went along. And then we started going to the gym together, didn't we?
I'd done a massive weight loss. I'd lost about 7 stone. So I was bored with the weight loss thing then. I wanted a different challenge. So the challenge then wasn't it lifting weights and stuff like that?
Yeah, I qualified as a PT, and Sue was like my guinea pig, really, while I did my qualification. But yeah, so we used to love going to the gym together. And then randomly, just some guy in the gym we were in said to me, oh, why don't you try a powerlifting competition? And I didn't know what powerlifting was. So I was like, yeah, okay then. So it started there, really. He'd competed in UK's Strongest Man in 2007, and he used to show us his videos on YouTube. And I sort of was like, oh, well, if you can do it, I can do it. So I entered a little local competition, just in a little local gym. Yeah, and I loved it. Came fourth and was like, oh, great, I like this. But then Sue was like, oh, I can do that as well. I want to try it. So that's
it was the powerlifting first, wasn't it? Because Sam had entered this competition and I'd gone down. I was so nervous for her, sort of thing, and she smashed it. And you hadn't been doing it long, did you?
Yeah.
So I said, well, if you can do it, I can do it. So it was literally a week after my 50th birthday, wasn't it? And I said, right, let's start training. 6 weeks later, I did my first competition. So, and won a couple of Welsh records. And it just spiraled, really, didn't it? Really quickly, you know. So that's, you know, it's only 3.5 years ago, really.
Yeah.
It went crazy then. I was supposed to enter another small local competition, and that got cancelled. And I'd also entered Emirates Strongest Woman in Dubai. So literally my second ever competition in strongwoman, I flew halfway around the world to compete in the Middle East Strongest Woman.
Wow. Oh yeah, I actually remember seeing photos popping up on that on your Instagram actually not too long ago as well.
Yeah, so I came third, and of course, so that was at sort of what was it, a Dubai Muscle Show, which is like body power on steroids.
Oh, it was phenomenal. What an atmosphere!
It was just crazy, and just that I just loved that atmosphere. It was absolutely fantastic, and I come third out of 8, I think. So I thought, well, I must have something here. So I carried on with it.
And here you are today.
Yeah.
Class. And then so how did you meet Rhiannon then? Because I know she's from Wales originally, isn't she?
No,
she's not.
No, Rhiannon's from Preston, and Luke's from Wales.
Oh well, I knew somebody was from Wales.
Yeah, so quite a funny story. We were in the gym with our coach. It must have been around 2017, and I remember because he didn't do social media, so I remember taking my phone in one day and I'd seen Rhiannon on Instagram doing this phenomenal deadlift. I was like, look at this girl, look at what she's deadlifting. You know, I was like there with my 80 kilos, and you know, Rhiannon's like deadlifting what she was deadlifting. So that's where I think she first came onto my radar, really, and then sort of followed her journey. And then we were at Europe's Strongest Woman in 2019. And of course, when you're like a newbie and you go to the competition, you're like, oh my God, there's Rhiannon Lovelace over there. And we were stood in front of her in the toilet queue, and I think I spoke to her and she ignored me. That's the one, you stuck up couch. And we have a laugh about this now, but what I didn't realise at the time was, you know, she had her head right in comp mode, you know, and I didn't really understand that sort of, you know, that mindset at that time.
Yeah.
And anyway, fast forward, we were in lockdown, the first lockdown. We sort of parted company with our coach at that point, so we were a little bit in limbo. We were in lockdown, and I just remember saying to Sue one night, I'm going to message Rhiannon and ask her about coaching. I said, she's the best in the world, you know, who else would you want to be coached by but the best in the world?
Yeah.
So that's how it started, really. We had a chat on the phone. And I started with her, and then a few weeks later we started with it.
We were training in the garden. We were lucky we got a few bits and pieces in the garden. We had a deadlift bar for a wedding present.
Oh,
so
class.
We had like a few weights and stuff like that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So within a few weeks, Rhiannon had basically changed Sam's deadlift completely. And it was a little bit like, I want a bit of that, you know? I'd already lifted, I think I'd already done 200 a couple of times by then, hadn't I? But I wanted more. So I was a bit like, right, I'm going with it as well then, if you are, you know, it was that sort of, you know, tit for tat sort of thing. If you can do it, I can do it. It's childish, really, but it just went from there, didn't it, you know?
Yeah, so a couple of months later then, I think we were still in lockdown in Wales, but we said, oh, come on, we're going to sneak to Preston for the weekend and go to Chaos. And we were nervous. It was like walking to a competition, walking to Chaos, but it was brilliant. And that was the first time we'd had a sort of face-to-face coaching session with Rhiannon. Well, it was just fantastic. You know, those times where you don't want to go home, you know, and if you want to pick up a gym and take it home with you because it was so fantastic.
And Preston's a lovely place as well. I've been there a couple of times. It's quite nice up there as well.
Yeah, well, we've been up a few times and taken Ollie up as well. And yeah, it just went from there. And so to think that from Europe's Strongest Woman, where Rhiannon ignored us, and now go to the gym with her, we're like, that's what it's real.
Yeah. You don't really realise too the headspace you kind of have to be in whenever you're in a competition too. I'm starting to learn that as well now. Well, you really have to be in that headspace, and sometimes. Yeah,
well, that's it. I mean, I've apologised to Rhiannon, and I said, you know, I said I took a dislike to you because could you really support me? I said, but I fully understand now where you were, you know, and obviously I go there myself in competition now, and we have a bit of a laugh about it. So I think one of the messages I said to her, I said, oh, you know, I pay you to talk to me now. So. But yeah.
And then you were saying, Sue, about your deadlift. So you now are the Welsh record holder deadlift.
Yeah, I've got the British Masters record and the Welsh Masters record. I did have the Welsh Opens, but Rebecca Roberts stole it from me in Wales. I'm not forgiven yet, so I need to get that back. I don't know if I'm going to, but I think she listened to 7, didn't she? She beat by about 7, so about 7 kilos. So I'm working hard now to try and get that back. But obviously I got injured in Wales, so it's the comeback, really, isn't it? So
because you really need your legs to be able to deadlift.
Absolutely, yeah. And it was such a nasty injury, wasn't it? It was huge from the carry and drag, and my leg was just completely black. So still taking it a little bit easy. I've got up to, I think, 185 at the moment for a few reps, but I don't want to push it. That felt quite easy, but I didn't want to push it any higher at the moment. So yeah, just crawling my way back. I'm in my little zone now.
How did you find prep for doing the deadlift? Were you still in lockdown around that time?
Yeah, I'm not good at prep. I wing it a lot of the times, and I'm a little bit like, oh, I'll do that tomorrow. And Rhiannon says, right, do 5 and I'll do 3. Do you know, it's that sort of thing. But I've got to be honest, the log and deadlift, when I got the record last year, I'd been very ill, to the point where I could have actually died. So I had quite a nasty blood pressure issue and stuff like that. So when we turned up with the log and deadlift, I hadn't trained for 5-6 weeks.
Yeah.
I hadn't trained for probably, we walked in the morning, the girls were saying, oh, you know, are you ready? And I'm like, I bought my stuff, but I don't know if I'm going to do it. I'm going to see how I feel. So literally we were taking my blood pressure twice a day and stuff like that. So we took it that morning. It was stable-ish sort of thing. So, and I just thought, oh, sorry, that you only live once. And I went up and I beat Sam's record first of 205 or 215, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I held the Welsh record at 206, Welsh Masters record. And I think I did 210 and beat my own record, and then
I did 215.
Yeah, and then I think, did I do?
Yeah, you too.
I did 215. So it was going back between us, like back and forth, and then she matched up with the 240. I was like, yeah, I'm out.
Someone shouted, right, what's the British record? Then we were like, I don't know. So everyone was on their phones trying to find out the British record, and it was 237, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So someone said, right, put 240 on the bar, and I wasn't sure. I'd never lifted anywhere near that, you know. So I did that, didn't I? Yeah. And it was, I wouldn't say it was easy, but it wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be.
And I remember seeing the video. You did make it look easy, though.
Yeah. And of course, I was still bleeding from my mouth. I'd had an operation in my mouth, and I was still bleeding from my mouth. So everyone's like, why have you got a mask on? I'm like, because I'm bleeding, you know? But 2 weeks later, then we had Wales Strongest Woman, didn't we?
Yeah.
And yeah, I lifted 242.5 twice, and both of them were disallowed because I dropped the bar from the top. So. Yeah, but you know, rules are rules, aren't they? So I got my records, but that's fine. So yeah, it was good.
How did you end up in that competition then? First and second?
In Wales.
In Wales. You were Rebecca was first, you were second, I was joint third. So yeah, so it was close, wasn't it?
It was very close.
It was a
and did that one qualify you for what did that qualify you for UKs, or did that qualify you for OSG?
That qualified me for Britain's Strongest Woman.
For Britain's?
Yeah. We were already both qualified for OSG anyway, from our 2020 qualification. So it qualified me for Brits. You didn't qualify for Brits, did you? Yeah, it qualified me for Brits. So
me and a girl called Sioned Halpin, who was a very, very strong Welsh girl, we had to do like a tie break thing, and it was throwing a 70-kilo sandbag back and forth over the yoke. And you know, I'm 53 years old. I've only got so much in me, sort of thing, you know, because it was an open contest. God, it was so hot. I think it was the hottest day in Wales that year. So though Sioned beat me fair and square, I've got to be honest, she went on to Brits then, but I was quite relieved because I didn't want to do Brits.
You didn't want to do it. Because obviously Brits is opens, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm too old for opens. I've got to be honest, I am too old.
Well, you're not, but it is really heavy competition, you know, that Ant puts on. So yeah, you were always in two minds about it anyway.
I think it's funny.
And how did you get on at Brits then? Did you enjoy that? That was at the close to the end of the year, wasn't it?
Yeah. So that was September, I think. I came fifth. So me and we aimed for fifth. And it's a heavy comp. I mean, you're looking at...
It is very heavy. I was looking at some of the...
For reps,
it was 210.
For reps.
Yeah, 220 frame, 210 deadlift for reps. You know, it's a heavy comp. And then you look at the competitors. So there's Becca Roberts. There was Annabelle, who just won worst. Izzy Tate.
Katie Smith.
Yeah.
Strong girls.
You know, there were some really strong competitors. So we looked at the lineup. We looked at my prep, because obviously I'd had back-to-back comps. And we were like, right, well, realistically, we're looking at top 5. And I came fifth, so I just scraped in there. But yeah, phenomenal. It was a brilliant comp. I think I got me fit. And just the atmosphere in the Doncaster Dome and being in front of the crowd, you know, you don't react well to that, do you? But I love that sort of that show and being in front of the crowd. So yeah, it was a really good comp.
How did your prep go, Sam, for that leading up to it? Because you had quite a lot of competitions, and you know, it was near enough a competition back to back, like at one stage, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think I had 3 big comps in 6 weeks. So I'd had UK's, then a fortnight, which is again a heavy comp, then a fortnight later Brits Masters.
Yeah.
Which wasn't necessarily heavy, but it just hindered my prep a little bit.
Well, we didn't actually prep for Brits Masters at all.
No, we didn't prep for it, if I'm honest. But it was just a bit of an annoyance, really, leading up to Brits prep. So yeah, I didn't really do any prep for Brits, if I'm honest. And it shows, because I struggled on the frame carry and I struggled on the yoke as well. So I think that lack of prep really did show, and that's been the lesson to me this year, is to sort of, you know, do less comps. You know,
I'd be more selective in what you do for this year. Yeah. Because you don't want
after COVID last year, they were trying to squish so many in that everyone was expected to do all these stuff, and it was just too much, wasn't it? Was a big lesson learned there, I think.
Definitely. What was your favourite part of Britain's competing in that?
I think coming third in the max log behind Becca and Annabelle, I think that was quite an achievement. Because don't forget, I'm 20 odd years older than them both, so that felt good. And the deadlift, I was quite chuffed with my 5, considering I'd had no prep. My 5 at 210, I thought was all right. So yeah, but I think just the environment, the atmosphere, it was. I think I became a strong woman that day, because I realised, I love that platform.
Yeah. And like diet-wise, nutrition-wise, have you got a plan and that to follow? Have you got a different plan following coming up to competitions than what you would just for training and that, or is it kind of the same the whole year round?
It's pretty much the same. I've always done sort of our nutrition and our planning, so I've never really been sure if I've been doing it right or, you know, effectively, but it's got us to where we are. But starting in the next few weeks, we're going to be starting with Jo, who's a nutritionist who's part of Chaos. So we're going to be starting with her in the next few weeks.
I am. Yeah, you are. I'm just going to be fat.
Yeah.
Weight moves weight.
Sue's still in off season. She's not ready for that commitment yet. But I feel I'm in the mindset to start. So yeah, I'm going to start looking at that side of things a bit more seriously.
And how do you find recovery? What do you do for recovery? Is there a plan for that? Or
I take ages to recover. I take absolutely ages to recover. Yeah, I mean, not just weeks. I can take months. After a really big heavy deadlift, I can take months to recover. But you know, I'm 53, almost 54, and I just think it affects my central nervous system so much.
Yeah.
When I do a massive lift, I mean, after the one of the Wales ones, wasn't it? I burst all the blood vessels in my eyes as well. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's that much pressure on your body, and you don't realise. But I think it took me months to get over that, didn't it? Yeah. I don't think, in fact, going to OSG, I'm not even sure I was ready then, because I got a bad knee as well. So it was one of them ones I don't think I was ready to do that either, really. It was a bit like, get in and wing it, you know? So.
And you've done fantastic, though. You came, was it 5th or 6th overall, wasn't it?
Sam came 3rd, I came 6th, which I wasn't expecting at all. To be honest. I gave everything I had, you know.
Yeah. You could really tell, you were like, you fought like
Absolutely.
As I say, fuck because I can't curse on this anyway. There's no not cursing. I can bleep it out on YouTube and stuff. But we're all adults here.
In the deadlift ladder, there was out of 18 or 19 women, it was only Aisha that beat me, and it was literally by a fifth of a second she beat me. So, that wasn't bad at all, because I she's one of my idols. I look at her powerlifting with no straps the same as I do, and I just think, oh my God, to be that close to her. And of course she went on and won it. I was really chuffed with that. So I think it was Aisha, me and you, wasn't it? Well, we're the only three masters that finished it. So finished the deadlift. It was good.
Yeah, that was the deadlift ladder. It was pretty. It was some going, like, because what was the top ladder in that? What was the top deadlift in that?
I think it was 227.
227. Around two, because obviously they work in pounds, don't they? So
aye.
So it's like an odd weight for us in kilos, but it was around 227, I think.
Of course, the last bar was a mammoth bar, so it's a 10-foot length one. So none of us has ever used that before, and you have to take the whip out of it. It goes like that as you do. It's not an easy thing to do. But
is it like an elephant bar, or is it complete? Is it
very much?
Yes,
very much. Yeah, very similar. So so I that's all I ever wanted. When I first did a deadlift, and I saw Andrea Thompson lift on an elephant bar, and I was like, I want to go on that. I really want to go. So I got my turn and lifted it. So as you're pulling it up, it makes you wiggle a little bit. So it looks like my legs were shaking, but it's
Is that what? Because I noticed quite a lot of people's legs shaking in that, and I thought, Jesus, this must be really heavy. But it's the whip then that does that too.
It wasn't the weight for either of us. I mean, that's a pretty standard weight for both of us. Not even top weight. So it wasn't, and you see me, I strap in on, I use my straps on the last bar because I just didn't want that doubt of, right, I've never used a mammoth bar, I don't want it to catch me out in any way, because it's not the weight, it's the whip and the way it moves, So you didn't use your straps, did you? But I took a second and strapped in, but it was you could feel it was different.
Did you get to use it before, like?
No.
That was literally the first time. You didn't get to play with it or anything beforehand and warm up or anything?
No, in the warm up area. I think it might have been even just one stiff bar. I don't even think it was.
I only.
Well, when you might say warm up,
I'm not the best at warming up. I'm a little bit like, oh, sod it, it'll be all right, So I went out and Luke was saying to me, go and warm up. And I'm like, oh, whatever. So I walked over. There was 100 kilos on the bar. I picked it up and I went, I'm warm. And that was it, sort of thing, But I don't do warm-ups very well.
But I mean,
I love it.
The first bar is around 140. Well, that's a warm-up weight for us in the gym. So, we were kind of like, well, we warm up on 140. So, the first bar is 140. So that's our warm-up. But the warm-up area is crazy at World. So you just, you've literally got to elbow your way in, to get.
Really? Was there just one platform for there was a couple of hundred? Maybe more than that there.
I think there was 290 or something people there competing.
And there was two bars to warm up. So, it gets a bit chaotic. And if you're not the sort of push your way in kind of person, you can sort of get left out with the warm up if you don't. And I'm not really a push my way in. We got some sort of warm up, but I mean, like I said, the weights were we knew the weights were within what we were capable of anyway, so it was okay.
Just out of curiosity, this was a standard deadlift bar? Was it a 21 you used? It wasn't a 15 for the females then? It didn't change that, so it was 20. I was actually quite curious, because no CrossFit they use like a 15 kilo bar for females.
They were exactly the same. They were the Cerberus bars, weren't they? No, they were the same bars. They just put weights on the end, and that was it. Exactly the same bars for everybody. So, which is good. I like that. I don't like, because you're girls. I don't like that.
It just always made me curious. Just if they kind of changed a few things the way like CrossFit and that does, just for the female side of things. So how did you find the yoke or the car yoke?
I mean, how many times in your life do you get to do something like that?
That looks so class.
And when I qualified, it was a little bit like, I don't care where I come, I just want to lift a car and I want to win the deadlift ladder or do the deadlift ladder, because I'd seen Rhiannon doing it and I was like, oh my God, I want to do that, So as I said, I got a really bad knee. So if I lift a yoke, I lift it on one leg.
Oh.
So I know it's mad, really.
Oh,
So,
as a nurse, my wee nursing head's just going off.
I know. Rhiannon's like, you shouldn't be able to do that. And I'm like, oh, I'm just doing it on the one leg. And she said you could see me lifting it just on the one leg. So it was basically lift it, do a couple of steps on the bad leg, and then put it down, wasn't it? But yeah, I've watched a lot of the competition back, and you can see I use my one leg a lot. And that was the leg actually I hurt. So I probably know why, because when we were doing the carry and drag, it was just the one leg I was using.
You're overcompensating them for the bad knee.
Yeah. I set my bar a bit low. So I was sort of, I couldn't get my technique to pick it up properly. So I would take a few steps and it was heavy and I was dropping it.
Yeah.
And then I was, having to sort of squat it right up, and I haven't got a 260 kilo squat. And I think about the second or third time I dropped it, and I was like, this bar is too low. So yeah, it's one of those things you learn from.
Visually, it looks amazing though.
Yeah.
A deadlock class. And actually, the car doesn't even make it. The car doesn't even make it look actually heavy. The shell of it, because you couldn't see. I'm sure there was weights and all inside under as well. You couldn't see none of that.
Metal work inside it and stuff like that. So we didn't. Like you have to set your height the day before, and we didn't even attempt to lift it. It was just like, where it was, sort of thing, wasn't it? But I actually didn't think that I'd be able to move it off the line. So to get halfway, I was really pleased with that.
Yeah.
With one leg.
And pre-planning and all leading up to that, did you get all your training sessions in and get all your meals and recovery and saunas? And
we don't do saunas.
I love a sauna. Oh, that's the best. I could just sit in it all day.
If we could afford it, do you know what I mean? Because obviously we're all self-funded, aren't we? Do you know what I mean?
So it's included in my gym membership, so I just use it. You see, there's one in our gym, so I just use it every night I'm finished.
Yeah, because I like the cryogenic one. I want to go to the gold one and stuff like that, but it's so expensive. The two of us, so you got the wages coming in, and we've got to pay for space. It's a lot for the two of us, isn't it? So there's no sponsorship. We haven't got any sponsorship or anything like that, so we pay for everything ourselves. Really,
you have no sponsorship whatsoever. Nobody,
nothing at all.
So
not even for like equipment or anything.
Nothing.
That's mad.
I know, even the documentary and all that, we've crowdfunded.
It was
GoFundMe and stuff like that. So no, we pay for it all ourselves, which is good, So at least we haven't got anyone to thank for it. I suppose just ourselves, isn't it?
But it's all worth it though at the same time, isn't it?
Absolutely.
You get to do what you love. Yeah. And I know it would help if there was good money out there for the female side of things, like the same way there is for the male. But I mean, it's changing. It's already started changing, and hopefully it changes quicker than what everybody anticipates it to. But
and I think you've got people like Rhiannon who are pushing all the time. She's such a good role model for women, for young girls as well. So she's always pushing for it, isn't she?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think this year was the first year. Obviously, we had UK's, there was prize money at that. So things are starting to change, and it's good. It just takes it takes a long time, doesn't it, for change to happen. And as female athletes, we have to put ourselves out there and say, yeah, we are worth the money, we are worth the investment and stuff.
Yeah, we all put in the same work, the same hard work. It's hard work, and we all know it. We should get reward. You should get rewarded for that as well. So how many days a week then were you training coming up to OSG?
4.
It was 4, sometimes 5, because we both work full time. We've got quite stressful jobs as well. So we were doing 4 days or 4 nights, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And a 5th if we could put it in, sort of thing, But again, it was September, October. The weather in Wales starts changing. It's dark nights, so any outside events were spotlit, and it was raining, and so But it wasn't that long to do it, really, was it? It seemed to all happen and just be there really quickly.
Yeah, it seemed to go from we've got weeks yet to it's in 3 weeks' time. It just flew by. But and we didn't train the deadlift very much either, because like I say, it's not out of our reach weight-wise. So I
actually think we only did it once, the deadlift.
Yeah, we were just sort of looking at speed, between the bars more than lifting the weights, and it was the other events that we sort of concentrated more on. So I concentrated on the log, so I was quite gutted about the log. in the comp, because I'd been doing well in training in the comp, leading up to the comp, and yeah, that log just felt so much heavier. But I don't think I was over the travelling, so we travelled 28 hours, and we kept it quite fine because of finances and COVID and all the rest of it. And I'm not sure I was over the journey. You know, I was still fatigued from that. So.
And I was trying to get ice baths, wasn't I? Yeah. My legs were so swollen coming from the flight.
That's right, I remember.
On the first day, wasn't it? I didn't attempt the log because I'm not good at overhead anyway. So I didn't even attempt the log. But then we had, what did we have on the first day? It was the log and car. Was it the car? Could have been. But whatever event it was on the first day, I couldn't actually bend my legs anyway. They were so swollen. But my trousers were so tight and my shoes were so tight. It was just like, oh my God,
you just needed to hang upside down for a wee while to get all the swelling out of the legs. But that probably would be partly to do with the flight, but the blood pressure as well. If you're having issues with your blood pressure, that'll make your legs swell too.
Yeah, I think it was the flight, because we had 2 flights, didn't we? And it was lots of hanging around. You know. Yeah. But we found an ice machine in our hotel, so me and Ollie were running up the hotel corridor with a bin out of the room, filling it with ice.
So in the bath.
If anybody's seen you, they'll be thinking you're bloody mad.
Yeah. Got in the bath, and I think she was in there about 3 seconds. I was like, all that effort.
Bloody cold. Well, I got in about 6 times and lasted about 3 seconds each time. And I'm one of these ones. I want to go cold water swimming. I don't know. I really don't know.
You couldn't get the Stoltman brothers. They're always in them ice ponds and stuff.
You know, if I had one in the garden, they got these ice buckets, these ice baths. If I had one, I would tiptoe and I would get in it. But it's one of them
3 seconds.
Yeah, about 3 seconds that I get back down. But I think you have to adjust yourself to it. And,
there's socks you can buy as well that you can put on that they come up like just below your knees, and they keep you a wee bit warmer.
Isn't it? Yeah. I think maybe I would fly in a few days earlier next time, if I'm honest. We didn't even have a full day, did we, before competing. So it was difficult. It was. I gotta be honest.
Yeah, and then the time difference as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
Adjusting.
You don't sleep there when you get there, do you? Ollie did. He was out for the count. It was like 13 hours or something, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But
Wales can do that. Like they can just come anywhere.
We didn't get to the hotel till about 3 o'clock in the morning, wasn't it? Yeah. We got a hire car, got there, and he was straight in bed and sleep. We had to wake him up then to go and register the next day. So it was literally that tight getting in, wasn't it?
I know She's was use how they fully fund that as well too, because it's not a brand new competition, but it's still a relatively new and upcoming competition as well. So
2019, wasn't it?
Yeah, I competed in 2019, and I think it was only like my 5th competition, and I qualified for it by accident, if I'm honest, because I'd done Euros, and I'd come 2nd there, which qualified me for Worlds. So I never even expected to get that far. So in 2019 I came 5th, and I was a bit devastated by that, to be honest. It really took a few months for me to realise that, hang on, that was 5th out of 19 people in like your 5th ever strongman competition
in the world, isn't
it? So it took a while for me to process that. So I went last year with a different mindset. I wanted to podium. What made it worse in 2019 is on the 2nd day I was actually in 3rd place, and then the 3rd day were my 2 worst events that I hadn't even managed to train because I couldn't get onto a Viking press, and obviously there's no power steers anywhere, so I done what I could, so I came off the podium on the 3rd day, and I think that's what upset me more really, is like, if they'd been different events, it may have been different. So I went into a different mindset last year. And I bizarrely, on the 2nd day, I was in 3rd place. So that night it was like, oh my God, I'm here again. I can't back up the 3rd day again and fall off the podium. But luckily they were 2 good events on the last day, and I kept that podium place. So.
Yeah, the stones look cool on the last day.
Yeah,
I enjoyed watching everybody doing them. I was sitting in work I was sitting in work, and in between, like looking after patients, I was looking down at my phone, and then I was looking back up to make sure everybody was still alive, because I was like, I don't even know how long I was even looking down at my phone. I swear, if the manager had walked in, they would have sacked me on the spot. And then my excuse would have been, "Oh, but I'm watching World's Strongest Woman," and they were like, "That's not an excuse, Nicole, for your patients today."
No, we're working from home, and when Russ was on, obviously we were like following Annabelle.
Yeah.
And so I'm sat at my desk at home. I've got my personal computer on with Wuss on it, and then I've got my work computer, and I'm like, well, I can work and keep an eye on Wuss. Although it's the other way around, I was watching Wuss and keeping an eye on work. I'm like, shit, I meant to be working here.
But I was the same one, because it was like the time difference as well. And I'm sitting and I'm watching. I'm like, oh my God, Ollie's out of school. And I had to remember to get Ollie out of school. So I got down. He said, "Oh, why are you late, Mum?" I said, "I was watching Annabelle." He said, "Oh, can we watch it?" He loves that. Yeah.
Has he started doing strongman yet?
You know, he's doing a little bit, trying to get him motivated. He likes deadlifting. He does a 50-kilo deadlift. He does. So I think this Christmas coming up now in 2022, Rhiannon's going to do like a parent and child type competition.
That's a brilliant idea.
Yeah, but he doesn't want to train with me. He wants to train with Sam. So she's stronger apparently. So. Yeah, so
are you too hard on him, Sue, or are you not hard enough on him?
We both we're like strict parents, but it works because he's a really good boy. He's lush, and he he listens and that. So, but I think this year now he wants to get into the strongman a little bit. Yeah. Of course, we're moving as well. We just bought a new house, so we're moving closer to the gym, aren't we? So it'll be more accessible for him as well.
Yeah. So the gym it's not the gym you have at the minute. Then it's not really close to the house. So you have to travel as well as work.
Yeah, so
long hours, then go travel.
So there's about 40 gyms in Cardiff, and Cardiff's not a very big city really, compared to some, and there's 40 gyms. So when we looked at opening a gym back last year, we went to the next city, which is Newport, and that fell through. And then what we found is that units in Cardiff are just so expensive, or nobody brings you back, or it's just not. I don't know how anyone rents a unit in Cardiff. So of course when Rhea and Luke moved back down to Wales, we all sort of started chatting. It's like, well, should we open the gym, should we, and it was like, yeah, okay. And so we're up the Welsh Valleys a little way, but that works perfect. I mean, it's a bit of a drive for us, but we're going to move anyway. But yeah, it works great. The premises are a lot more accessible up there, and with the space as well. And obviously, we haven't got the competition of 40 gyms up there. So
cool. Yes, I haven't even started chatting about the plane yet.
The plane.
I haven't even got that far yet. So you pulled the plane in 2021.
Yes.
Yeah.
Isn't that right? And that's the one that made it into the Guinness World Book of Records as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a Guinness record, fastest time over 20 meters, wasn't it, by a couple. So, of course, it hit the headlines more because we're a married couple. It'd never been done before, and we did it really quickly, to be honest, wasn't it? I think it took it by storm a little bit, So, yeah, so that was really good, yeah.
How did you... Okay, so how did that even come about? How did pulling a plane come about? Now I know like trucks and all that crack, but a plane.
Well, I'd had this after Emirates Strongest Woman. I'd had this mad idea that I wanted to be the first Welsh woman to pull a plane. So we sort of sat in the hotel googling it, and it's not just the sort of thing you can do, is it? You can't just rock up at an airport and say, "Can I pull that plane?" And anyway, it went on the back burner, because it's just so difficult to organise. And then middle of lockdown last year, Sue sat downstairs working, and I'm upstairs. Sue comes up, "Should I just have a phone call from the Guinness Book of Records?" I'm like, "Right, yeah." And she said, "Oh yeah, we're going to pull an aeroplane." I was like, "All right, okay." You're in the middle.
Did they hear that you wanted to do this?
Well, I didn't really give the choice to her, but I knew she'd agree if I wanted to do it. So, but they said, "Oh, it's a 16-ton plane," and I'm like, "Oh, that's easy," because I know Kiki has done that on her own, in Norway. So, and I thought, well, between us, we're bound to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So then, as the weeks went on, we started talking. This was, I think, it was beginning of January, wasn't it?
Yeah.
we started talking, and then they said, "Oh, we can't get the 16-ton. It's a 32-ton." And I was a little bit like, "Oh, okay." So I came upstairs and I said, "Oh, the plane's grown a little bit, sort of thing. It's a bigger plane."
We did a quick bit of maths. It's like, well, if Kiki can do 16 on her own, then we can do 32 together. You know, we did a bit of a calculation in our head, and then when we turned up on the day, the plane was 48 tons.
And they were saying, "How have you trained?" And we were like, "Well, how do you train?
How do you? That's it. How do you actually train to pull a plane?"
It was in lockdown as well. So literally, we were lifting stones in the garden when we did a bit of deadlifting.
Yeah,
we hadn't even tried a harness on or anything. Oh, we got the harnesses. Guinness World Records said, "All right, we'll order you these harnesses." So they came. Sam did a fashion parade around the living room, and that was it, really, wasn't it? We you know what I mean, in her pajamas with this harness on. Other than that, we hadn't tried them. So we turned up at the day and it was like, which way's which? We had no idea, like, you know? It was like the blind leading the blind. But fair play, Rhiannon and Luke had come down from Preston to be with us and to do it. Nikki and Neil had turned up as well, so it was really good.
Yeah.
Ollie's a Welsh speaker, and it was being filmed by the Welsh as well, so he did the interview. So, and it was a bit like, "Do you think you're going to be able to do it?" We were like, "Well, we'll see when we," you know, it was one of them. But it really did move quickly, didn't it?
It did, yeah.
Quicker
Than we both thought it would. So I think it was Nikki said, "Oh, when it starts moving, I'll shout to you, it's moving." And I don't remember hearing anyone shout, "It's moving." You're so in the zone.
Yeah.
Everyone's cheering as well, aren't they? So you don't hear anything.
And I didn't even know if it was moving. And I said, "Arms are moving up the road, then the plane must be moving behind me." But all of a sudden then the plane just stopped at a jolt, and the person in the plane had put the brakes on, and we were like, "What did you put the brakes on for? We haven't finished, we'll have to do it again." And you're like, "No, you've done it." We were like, "Oh, right." That's how quick it was over.
Yeah, it was really good.
I think,
How many seconds did it take?
37.
37. 36.7, I think it was.
I don't know.
Hang on, I have a certificate somewhere.
Yeah, but they said, "Oh, you've got 3 minutes to do it." So I can remember saying to Sue that after about 30 seconds, the lactic acid is just going to be going mental. You know, we've got to get this done as quick as we can. You know, if we're still pulling it at a minute, that's going to be really hard work for us. Yeah, we didn't even get to that.
No.
Didn't even get to that.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
In fact, I think we were like, we wanted to do it again. You know,
I could have done it again. I really, you know, because you're only insured for one plane pull, so you have to do it. You know what I mean? So. And there's such strict rules with the Guinness as well. They have to do all the measuring. There has to be like referees everywhere, and it's quite strict. You know, I thought it just pull a plane, they'll give it to us. But it's not. It's actually quite strict. So, yeah. But
what was the rules then before?
Sorry.
Go ahead. No, I'll ask in a minute. What were you going to say?
When he put the brakes on, wasn't it? And it was almost like whiplash. Do you know what I mean? Because he just like it was going that fast, you know. But, wasn't it? So afterwards, then it was like, "Oh, can we do it again? Can we do it again?" You know, and they were like, "No, we're not allowed to do it again." So yeah.
Did they measure the speed you were going?
I know it was. I don't know. It must have been bloody quick, wasn't it?
Yeah, because they did. So somebody had to do a test like pull to make sure it was possible and what the plane would do. So somebody did a test pull. So the TV presenter was like stood there with the camera, and she was looking all glamorous and everything like that. And so somebody did the test pull, and they hadn't put anyone in the cockpit. So this plane started moving so fast.
But it was going in the wrong direction. It was going like downhill, wasn't it?
Yeah, this glamorous presenter is legging it up the grass verge. And somebody shouted to her, "Grab the camera." And she's like, "Fuck the camera." She's running up the grass verge because this plane is hurtling towards her, you know.
But she's literally, she was that glamorous. She had a mirror in her hand, and she was like almost like doing a lipstick or a teeth or something, wasn't she?
Oh, no.
And she did. She just
what they did then, they put somebody in the cockpit to to put the brakes on. So I don't think anyone expected it to move at the speed it did. For a 48-ton plane hurtling towards you, there was no way of stopping it. Yeah.
They'll have to get you to pull the same plane with like maybe about 10 people in it next time.
Yeah. Well, that's what they said, because there was obviously because in Wales there's like a plane scrapyard, so it's where all the old planes come to be scrapped. There was a lot of planes there, so we did that one, and then there was a 747, over the other side. So they sort of said, "Oh, what are you going to do now?" And I said, "Well, we'll have to go on that one." But yeah, what do you do after you pull the plane? Isn't it?
You just want to go bigger now, don't you?
Yeah. So somebody suggested trying to raise the Titanic. So
I mean, it probably is doable if we. Has it really actually been found, the whole thing?
It's in bits, and I can lift it bit by bit. I think it's fine.
You don't like cold water though, so you're not going to go down.
Yeah,
What's on the Atlantic? I got a wetsuit on that day.
Oh God, I've lost my train of thought there now. I was talking. That's what I was going to say was what were actually the rules then? Did they go through rules with you before you started pulling it?
Yeah, and it was basically you couldn't go before the whistle. They blow a whistle. They do a countdown 3, 2, 1. I mean, it's all been recorded as well by lots of like different television things and that. So, and then they can watch it all back just to make sure that everything's all right and that. But you have there's one, he's like the adjudicator, isn't he? He's like the boss.
Yeah,
so he's there with his stopwatch. There's stopwatches over there and stuff like that. So it's all done really, you know. And it was basically when we shout stop, stop. But he didn't get that because it was happening so quickly. They had to slam on the brake. So he didn't shout stop, did he? Yeah. But yeah. And it was just like pull as fast as you bloody can, really, you know.
And have you have pulled like cars and vans and trucks before? Obviously, haven't you? In competitions,
well,
like it's not the first time he's ever pulled anything.
We've literally only done small vans. I think that.
I did a truck.
Oh, you did a truck in,
yeah. Up until then, I think it had been sort of vans, and cars, and things like that. So,
and of course, when we got to UK's, and there was the big lorry, wasn't there?
Oh yeah. And was it the same kind of technique as you would do for the plane?
Yeah,
I'm guessing. Was the harness coming from the tip, or was it coming from the wheels of the plane? Like where were you actually connected to?
It was actually just under the nose, wasn't it?
Yeah, the front wheel. It's hard, isn't it? Because like, there was 2 of us doing the plane. I wonder what the plane would have felt like if it was one of us. But I minded that the plane was easier than that truck.
But I also think as well, because of the relationship we've got, we're so in tune with one another. I think with that plane, it was a little bit like, I'm not going to let her down. She's not going to let me down. We're going to do it whatever happens because we're a team, you know. And I think that wasn't it? It was like I knew what she was doing. She knew what I was thinking. And it really did just move quick. I think when you're doing something like a truck, like in UK's, because if you remember, I pulled it to test that it could be done, wasn't it, you know?
That's right.
And I'd had no warm-up or anything like that. And it was hard. It was hard. I mean, I did it. I actually did it quicker than you, didn't I? Yeah,
well, I realised I had to put shoes on for the truck to pull. My feet were like slipping in my shoes because I probably a little bit arrogantly was a bit like, well, I've pulled a plane because I can pull a truck, you know. And I can remember hearing Martin C, the commentator, going, "No, I've got the ideal footwear for this," and you know, and I'm pulling the truck, going, "No, I haven't. My feet are slipping like hell in my boots."
The weather wasn't great either, though. Like the weather that day was absolutely crap.
It was awful. But if you watch the video back, you can see Sam's feet. You can see the boots are going like this. Like, do you know what I mean? I think, you know, when you look at it, then.
But I'd worn them. I'd worn them for the plane pull, and they were absolutely fine. So that sort of tells me the truck was harder than the plane pull because I don't remember my boots being an issue for the plane. But
it was a dry day the day you pulled the plane as well. There was
it was.
There was probably more grip on the ground as well. You weren't slipping and sliding, and even that day you were pulling that you pulled that truck. It was on. Wasn't it on black mats? It wasn't actually ground.
It was wood. It was like painted gloss.
That's it. It was very shiny
painted wood. So it was. It wasn't. Yeah, they were the wrong shoes.
Definitely would. Don't try and pull a car in a pair of Converse. I wore Converse yesterday trying to pull a car, and I've never done it before. And Converse is definitely not a pair of shoes I would put on my feet doing that again anyway.
They say rock climbing shoes are the best. So, they're so expensive though, aren't they? But we're both looking out for a pair of sort of cheap rock climbing shoes now.
eBay is great for them. I got a pair. Well, they're not rock climbing boots, but just work boots. I think I got them for a tenner, secondhand. But they didn't even look like they were worn.
Yeah. We got the ones the hiking boots. We got them properly, sort of thing. But I think Sam's feet have shrunk because mine still fit me. But and we bought exactly the same ones because we bought the same on the day, sort of thing, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, they fitted me when I did it. But maybe I had thicker socks on. You don't know, do you?
Maybe I'm just making excuses.
Yeah, maybe.
because I pulled the plane and then I didn't manage to pull the truck.
Yeah, the excuses coming out though, Nick. It's like, oh, you know, oh, my shoes are too big. Oh, I set the bar wrong on the car. You know, it's all like, yeah, it's all coming out, isn't it?
Here, how did you get on with the brick deadlift? Quite a lot of people, they didn't quite like that because it was just the platform wasn't great. The grip, you couldn't get much grip on the wee bar, the wee tooty bar, like.
That day it was raining, wasn't it? And everyone's grip was sort of going. We were, as you can see, we were walking up to the platform with towels over our hands to keep the chalk on our hands, and because we weren't allowed to use straps, and the platform was slippery. So you kind of you sort of risk assess these things. Think if I lose my footing slightly, I could really hurt myself. So I only had to do 2 reps, so I did my 2. And I'm a bit gutted because I probably could have done more, but I just didn't want to risk, I just didn't want to risk slipping over or anything. So I just did my 2 and got it over with and came down off the platform. But and again, it's not something, I think there's only one grip deadlift, something dedicated. So a few people have managed to have a go in dedicated, but we haven't been anywhere to have a go. So yeah, it was all right. I think the conditions didn't help that at all.
No.
I think the whole weekend the conditions were really bad.
Absolutely bad. I remember looking over at your face through one stage and just the look of worry on your face. God. Anytime it started raining or anytime anything was slippery, even the kegs, when you were running with them kegs, even I couldn't help but like, oh shit, this is. And
I am a work when Sam competes. I am a bag of nerves, and she's the same. When I compete, is that so? You do worry, obviously, you know. Of course, when Annabelle came out and she waved and she slipped, and it was like, oh my God,
That kind of gave you the.
Yeah, that messed up Annabelle for the whole weekend. There was no doubt about it. It shook her up and she hurt herself. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So, and of course, you've got people out there that you care about. You don't want them slipping and hurting themselves. And you could see how dangerous it was. Flipping that tire, and it was like one false move, you'd be under that tire. So it was worrying, wasn't it? Yeah. And I was cold. It was bloody cold.
Oh. Did you have heaters or anything out the back? Was there anything at all to heat you up or not?
It was like two half sort of falling down gazebos and a few weight plates and
some rusty logs on it.
Yeah, a rusty log and everyone's bags and food and so we were all huddled under sort of 2 gazebos trying to keep dry and but that was it. There was nothing under there at all.
See, I think too with strongman, the more you kind of look into it, there's no given set of rules. Like there's, most like CrossFit's a perfect example. There's so many rules when it comes to CrossFit, for the competitions and everything leading up to it, everything on the day, that you don't really have that. It's not a same kind of platform. No. Every time you compete, it's always something different because it depends on what the person running the competition has, and it's something probably it needs to be looked at as well. I don't even think there's like a strong woman or strong man like organization as such to even sit everybody down into a room and come up with these.
Yeah, I think it's down to the organizer, isn't it? It's like what straps you can use straps. What belt can you use? Can you axle clean? Can you belt clean? There's so many, and it's usually set by the organizer, really.
Yeah.
But you go to a competition and anything can be changed on the day. It's like they had the what was changed? Oh, they were going to do the pole push thing, weren't they? In the UK?
Yeah. They changed that, that's right.
And then they did the pull-in thing, on tug of war thing, wasn't it? But so any event can change on the day with strongman as well, and you have to be prepared for every eventuality, don't you? Really?
It kind of goes back to the old days of strongman where they didn't know the events; they just used to turn up and right, you're carrying a fridge today, off you go. Nobody's trained to carry a fridge; they just turn up. So I'd been told a few weeks before, was like, oh, good luck at UK's. Glenn doesn't give you a warm-up. He doesn't give you any warm-up equipment, and I'm like, okay, a heavy comp with no warm-up. And there was one rusty old bar and a few rusty old plates. Nobody knew what was on the bar. So I think my warm-up for the deadlift was one lift at 140 and one at 180. And if I went there, I had to do the 220, whatever it was.
But it was supposed to be, like the men's had the sandbags on the barrels. So they lifted them and run, And that was all the way through. It was said that the women's were going to be that, and then on the day it wasn't. You had to lift off the floor. Which, there was a few of them that trained. trained that, wasn't I? But not many, do you know what I mean? So that was a completely different thing as well.
Yeah, you just have to be prepared for every eventuality, really, you know, and things like that to change, because they do change. And
yeah.
Because
I know, like, whenever I do judo, when I did judo, there's always like not the ambulance, the St. John's are always there. They've always got a space in case anybody gets injured. There's always like a physio on hand. There's a doctor on hand. There's a couple of nurses on hand. Like, and UK's is my first competition I've ever actually went to watch. And I expected, because of my sporting background, I just expected all that to be there in place for anybody who that had injured themselves. And so I was actually quite shocked to see that there wasn't. And maybe that's something else too that they could probably all look at as well.
I did Wales one year, and there was a woman there, wasn't there, a paramedic ready with the oxygen and stuff. And
that was 2020, wasn't it? It was good,
There's always sort of where did we go? I can't remember where we went. There was a St. John's ambulance, and then at Wales there's always a little team there with the stretcher ready, you know, and you kind of look at the stretcher and go, oh my god, no, please, not me.
But in Wales as well, you've got like the physios there, you rub down between events and stuff like that.
Oh, well, that's not too bad.
Obviously, but it was, you know, it was good, wasn't it? You know, Becky realigned my leg, it lasted about 20 minutes and it was knackered again. So but you know, they are there for you, aren't they? You know.
Oh yes, so the next thing I want to talk about, and just you can talk about what as little or as much as you want to, is the documentary. I know you were videoing that in UK's, you were videoing that in OSG. You had recently stopped doing some videoing, and obviously you're probably at the editing stage and that. So how did this all come about, or you know, how did it come about? Yeah, it was an amazing idea, and it's brilliant. I cannot wait to see it when it comes out.
Yeah, so I mean, I've always, since I've started Strong Women Warsaw, I've always sort of shouted about female strength, overcoming, you know, mental health issues. Obviously, I came out of an abusive relationship, so I've always sort of banged that drum. And just somebody, so my friends, I've got a friend who's already on TV in Wales, in the UK, and she sort of rang me, not just before the plane pull, I think, and because our gym that we were going to open had fallen through, and I was like, we were in lockdown, and I was just really fed up, and I think I might have had a moan on Facebook, and she rang me and she said, look, what you pulling faces. And she said, like, what do you need? What can we do to help? And I said, I don't really know what I need. I said, when you ask for help, everyone thinks you want money. I said, I don't want money. I said, but I don't know what I want, you know. And she said, leave it with me. So a couple of weeks later, she came back, she said, right. She said, you want to get your story out there. You want to get this story across that, you know, strength and overcoming, you know, horrendous things, and look where you can be and things like that. She said, let's make a documentary. And I was a bit like, what the hell? Why? Who would watch that? You know, who wants to watch us? And so that's where it started, really. Bit crazy, wasn't it?
It was. It took us, because I think we're still a little bit like, who wants to watch us, and we, you know, but all the filming is done now. Shauna and a few of the other girls that are doing it are at the editing stage.
Yeah.
Obviously, like we mentioned earlier, you know, we've self-funded. We've had some GoFundMe money and stuff like that. But obviously, it's going to take time because it's of the money as well. So, so I think we've got about 4 or 5 of them edited at the moment, haven't we? We did a photo shoot down in Celtic Strength a few weeks ago, didn't we? With little smoke machines and dog dust and you know, just to do the final edits and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But they're literally going through every single shot from Wales Strongest Woman, from OSG, from Brits. There's so much to go through, and yeah, I think there's probably something, maybe 50 plus hours of filming that they've done.
And is it coming out in like episodes, or?
No,
it's coming out as a film.
It'll be one big film. So yeah, we don't even know really at the stage where it's going to go. We did sort of pitch the idea to sort of network TV in the UK, and it's kind of like, you know, they liked the idea, but they weren't ready for that sort of story. So at that point, we spoke to sort of Sean, who was our producer, and she said, well, let's make it anyway. and then we'll go back to them. Instead of pitching an idea, we'll pitch the documentary, you know, done and dusted and finished. So, you know, we don't really know when it's going to go out yet, but we're not worried about that. We're just going to make it, and then sort of, you know, and then say, well, here's the finished article, who wants it, sort of thing.
We've got some other things coming up this year, which we're sworn to secrecy at the moment, and we can't say anything at the moment, but there's other things as well coming up.
Yeah.
So really, the documentary we're going a little bit quiet on because there's other things coming up as well. So it's a little bit, but it will all be revealed this year.
Yeah.
Am I getting invited to the premiere of the documentary?
Of course. Yeah,
I'll be first on the plane coming over to see us on the big cinema screen.
You know, I think there's a couple coming out. So obviously, Donna is sort of making hers as well, her documentary, which I think is, you know, is different to ours, but ultimately about strong women. So it's a really good time. You know, there's some really sort of exciting things happening in sport for
the year of the strong woman.
Yeah, definitely. And it, you know, it always has been for us. It's like showing how strong you can be. You know,
it's overcoming what you can overcome as well, and you can still find love, and you can find your strengths in different areas. You know what I mean? So, isn't it?
Yeah.
And being strong is not all about muscle. I always say to people,
really not. It's really not. You know, we're bringing up we've got an 11-year-old son as well, so it involves that as well. So there's so many different angles to the documentary that they've managed to film, isn't there? I can't wait to see it myself, if I'm honest. Do you know what I mean? Like,
have they filmed you getting in and out of this bloody ice bath?
Yeah, I know. You know, I know I'm going to sit there watching it like this. Oh my God, look how fat I look. Oh my God, look at my hair. Oh my God, look at this. Look at, you know what I mean? Because we're normal, aren't we? That sort of thing. But I just think if it helps one or two people at the end of it, then, you know.
Yeah, definitely. That's all I've said all along. You know, if I inspire one person, you know, then I'm happy. That's great. And so every time, I mean, it happened at OSG, and then we go into these things, and we're just people. You know, we work full time. We bring up Holly. We go shopping like everyone else. You know, and then we walked into OSG, and somebody came up to me. And she was like, oh my God, I can't believe that I've met you, you know, in the flesh. She said, and when you follow me back on Instagram, she said, oh, that was me made. And I'm like, but I'm just me. And then there was somebody else, wasn't there? And she said, I can't believe I've met you, but she's going to have to go and breathe into a paper bag. And just,
she's adorable.
It's just us, you know. But
that's the thing, you don't know who's watching. You don't know who is, you know, is inspired by you. You know, I've had loads of people saying, you know, because of my age, they didn't think they could do it, and now they're doing it because they're, you know. And I said, well, I didn't start till I was 50, so there's time for everybody to have a go, isn't there? You know, and it doesn't matter if you win or you lose or whatever. It's always nice to win, but you know, just getting yourself out there. The amount of lovely people we've met, isn't it? You know what I mean? We've got to travel all over the place. It's amazing for Ollie to see the camaraderie of the people as well. So. It's fab, isn't it?
And he gets to travel everywhere with you as well. So he has a win-win situation anyway.
Oh, yeah. I mean, in 2019, wasn't it? Because we got married September 2019, and then you had OSG in late October. We went over to it. So we spent a fortnight in Daytona Beach. You competed, wasn't it? And then we had like 10 days afterwards, and like a honeymoon sort of thing. He had the time of his life. He absolutely loved it, didn't he? You know?
But he sort of, you know, he swans off and he's hanging out with strong men off the telly, and it's like we try and explain to him, you know, life, everyday life can be tough sometimes. You know, we go to the gym 4 times a week. You know, we ask a lot of him. You know, we can be away for weekends at a time. It gets boring for him, and you know, we try and explain to him is that, look, your life is different to probably your friends in school, but you know, look at what you get to do. You know, how many friends in school go and sit down next to Jerry Pritchett or Big Z for the afternoon, or Mark Felix. I mean, he takes it in his stride. He's so
cool.
You know, but still, you know, it's like
the only person he fans over him is Annabelle. He adores Annabelle. He's just like,
she's a dope. She's such a wee dope.
Yeah, so we sort of try and explain to him, like, we know it's tough, but look what you get to do, and other kids don't have those opportunities. So I think he appreciates it. There are times that we'll leave him at my mum and dad's just because it's long and boring for him. But yeah, mostly he comes with us.
He organises it most of the time.
Keeps us in check.
Yeah, it does. It keeps us from being silly, doesn't it?
So there's no set date then for it coming out anyway. It's just
No,
when
we're
it's in the
hoping it
pipeline.
will all be completed at the end of July, possibly something like that. So, as I say, there's other things coming out as
Yeah.
well. So,
Yeah.
Class. I really can't wait. I really can't wait at all. So that near enough. Oh, next. So when's your next competition for both of you? Is when he is next competing? You aren't going to Arnold's this year, are you?
No.
no, I don't think so. We've
It's,
got Wales' strongest woman, haven't we?
Yeah, so there's not a lot of sort of qualifying opportunities for Arnold's. I've always said it's something I'd like to try and have a go at. And no fool, I don't think I'd get anywhere, but I'd certainly like to have a go. But yeah, we've got the UK's qualifier, the Welsh qualifiers at the end of March.
Yeah.
But we're moving house right slap bang in the middle, so I've had to pull out of that one because I'm just not going to be able to give it the time and commitment I need to, and then UK's is then a month later, so I'm just not going to get the prep, and I don't want to put myself back into the same realms last year of back-to-back competitions. So Wales is next for us.
Yeah, Wales is June the 19th, so Sam will be in the Opens, I'm going in the Masters. Rhiannon's put a Masters in there, although it doesn't qualify for anything else sort of thing, but because obviously they go into Brits, don't they? But the Masters won't, but that's absolutely fine because I wouldn't even attempt the Opens again this year. It's too hard, for me now. I mean, I can do it, but I'll die.
Unless you get a new knee and a new hamstring and a new heart for your blood pressure.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the thing. My like we talked about recovery. My recovery isn't good as well. And I've got to realise that I'll be 54 next month, and I'm a little bit like, right, okay, rein it in. You've got to choose what you do. You got to, because I want to do OSG. I want to podium this year.
Yeah.
So because we've both got auto qualifications, haven't we? So
yeah.
So really, I will do Wales and then nothing. Then I'm not going to do any log and deadlifts or anything like that. I want to to podium OSG or at least get higher. Even fourth would be fourth or fifth. So
yeah, and I want to win. So look out, Aisha. Yeah. She wouldn't mind but yeah, we're being a bit more sort of selective. Obviously, if I qualify for Brits, then I'll probably do that again. But then it'll be OSG. But then things come up all the time. We're reffing at a few competitions this year, so it's good to give something back a little bit. So so many people give up their time to get us where we've got to. So we feel right, well, if we're doing less comps, we can give a bit more time, we can give back a little. So we're reffing a few comps.
Rhiannon's got a big novice thing going on in July the 2nd and 3rd, I think.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So we're guest reffing there and maybe a little talk and stuff like that. But I think there's some log events going on and stuff, isn't it, as well?
Yeah.
World record events and that. So we're going there, we're doing that.
I mean, I know the Arnold's are happening. I suppose it depends what the plan is, what's on offer for the women at the Arnold's. Because obviously we didn't go at all last year to the Arnold's, did we?
Oh, we had terrible FOMO though. It was awful.
Yeah, God, yeah.
I was watching a deadlift and I wanted a deadlift.
Yeah, we were meant to go.
Yeah, we qualified to go.
Yeah, just things didn't work out and we didn't get there. But we had massive FOMO all weekend. So, yeah, depending what's going on there, maybe, but
it's not on the agenda yet anyway.
Yeah. No. Cool. That about rounds up all my questions that I can think on. Is there anything else that I haven't brought up that you just want to talk about?
I'm the funny one.
No, I'm the funny one. No. You're the demure one. I'm the clown. When we go to competitions and stuff like that, Sam is always focused, and I'm behind the going. You know what I mean? It's that sort of thing, isn't it? When we train and stuff like that. She's been editing a video earlier on, and I saw it, and it's me walking past with weight plate, just being a knob all the time, really. Do you know what I mean? So.
But, do you put any of these up on YouTube? Have you got your own YouTube channel?
I've got a YouTube channel.
I've got YouTube. I've just started doing it a bit more, trying to keep it updated a bit more. It's hard, isn't it? It's
yeah.
So yeah, I try and do it in and around everything else we got going on. But yeah,
it's having the time to
I get too impatient. I'm like,
if you actually were able to set a camera and video everything that your son does and the stuff that you put up on Facebook, I swear, like, yes, you would make a fortune out of that. But
like, I gotta be honest,
so good to watch.
But we want a bloopers tape, don't we? For the for the documentaries, we got so many bloopers. Well, I just can't stop laughing. Do you know what I mean?
What's a bloop? What do you mean bloop?
You know when it goes wrong and you got to take it again. It's like,
oh yeah.
We were in the garden filming last year, and you're getting used to being in front of the camera, and I'm sort of sat there, all like stiff and like am I saying the right thing? And Sue sat there, and then I just felt something on my arm, and I'm like, I looked down a bit, and a bird had shit on my arm, and I was like, do I say anything or do I just carry on? And I just started laughing. Tell me. So it's like, things like that.
I'm hoping with the documentary that will show the more normal side of us as well, because we're never serious. It's so hard, isn't it? We laugh so much all the time, don't we? It's brilliant. So so I'm hoping you'll see the human side of us as well as just training and stuff like that. Obviously we're not editing it, so we don't know, but
do you get to see it before it goes out?
Yes. So.
You hope so anyway. By that stage there's no more editing. It's easier. If you don't like it, you just have to lump it, as we say.
We'll show you the final edit as it's going into print,
can you edit more weight onto that bar?
And less weight on me, isn't it?
The Kim Kardashian Photoshop.
I've seen one of them today. It's bloody awful as well.
So right, what do we see? The last thing that I want to do is go through the wee fire questions.
Right, now let me answer.
Right.
Oh no, you both have to answer one each. Am I giving you heart palpitations yet? They're not that bad. So the first one is your favorite TV program.
Oh, we watch a lot of serial killer things, if I'm honest, don't we?
Well, you do, yeah. Sue's last
She's not owning up to that one, Sue.
No. In Sue's last job, she used to come home with like rolls of duct tape. I probably shouldn't stay there. Well, she don't work anymore. She can't get sacked. But rolls of duct tape and zip ties, and then we watch all these serial killer programs, and I'm a bit like, what's she planning? Yeah.
Do you know what? I didn't even ask you what you do for a living. Now I'm feared to ask.
Well, I work within a probation service. I try to rehouse male prison leavers. When they come out of prison, homeless. I work with them, trying to get them back on the straight and narrow into accommodation, really, which is not the easiest thing to do, but
You're a queer woman. I couldn't do that.
I work for a local authority, so in the commissioning team. So we commission housing support services. So I'm a bit of a desk job. So I sort of started 20 years ago doing what Sue did and sort of worked my way up. But that's what I do. So it couldn't be fair.
You make me sound like a remedial.
What would I say? Was that PC?
I'm gonna cut that bit out.
Cut that out. But it's a bit of a desk job. But it couldn't be further away from strong women.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it definitely isn't a job that I could do.
I think we struggle.
It's I'm glad we've got each other to sound off to, because it's a similar sort of thing. It's both with homeless and stuff like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
And a lot of the names that come up on my list when they come out of prison, Sam's already aware of from the past when she's done it.
Right.
So so I think we sound off a lot to each other, don't we?
Yeah. I think I'm at the end of it, to be honest, and there's no secret with my boss that I'm sort of I talk about changing my career all the time. I'm looking at going into, obviously qualified as a personal trainer, so going into coaching and personal training when we got the gym all sorted. So that's the plan of, of where I want to go. So.
I was asked once to work in a prison over here as a nurse, and I immediately turned it down.
Yeah.
It's even work. So it's really hard on your mental health, and you're really lucky that you just have the two each other, so you understand
Absolutely.
what the other one's going through.
Yes.
Definitely helps.
Yeah, I mean, like
absolutely.
in lockdown, you know, we went to working from home. You haven't got the support of your team around you, and I mean, I know there's you know, there's people out there who had it far worse than we did, you know, but even we felt the effects of, you know, the people we were dealing with and what was happening, you know, around lockdown and COVID and stuff, and you know, so yeah, it's I think it's taught me really that I'm done with it really.
Yeah. So on that note, we'll go back to the fire questions. Favorite TV program.
I was going to get my violin now. Look at my shoes.
Yeah.
So favorite TV program? Did we answer that one now? I can't even remember.
Yeah, we do a lot with that. We like serial killers, don't we?
Although at the moment we're watching The Great Pottery Throwdown.
Have you watched that?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I'll have to add that to my list.
Well, I was a potter for 19 years, making pots and stuff like that. So I thought, oh, it's going to be a load of rubbish, but I've really got into it.
It's a bit like Great British Bake Off, but it's pottery,
making pots and stuff.
We're not sounding very cool here, are we?
You are. Your favorite film?
Probably Dirty Dancing. I love Dirty Dancing. It reminds me of my mum. My mum died quite a long time ago, but I used to watch it a lot with my mum. So
yeah, I love Dirty Dancing as well. Yeah.
You're not just He's going to watch it now when you
finish. No, it's Pottery tonight. Sunday night.
Pottery. Your favorite band?
Pink Floyd.
Yeah, good choice. Favorite drink?
Ooh, got one. We don't drink alcohol, so.
No, I like coffee. Yeah, I like my coffee. I'm a big coffee drinker, and
I like a Monster, but that's probably shouldn't.
No, they're not good for you. They're not good for you.
Isn't watching now.
One once in a blue moon are all right.
Yeah.
Your favorite meals?
Anything.
We love food. We do love a decent steak, and
yeah, nice steak.
You know, a nice tomahawk or a T-bone, and a nice steak. You know. So.
Yeah.
Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Favorite holiday destination?
Dubai was a lovely one. Yeah. We've done Dubai twice. Both times without Ollie, actually, haven't we? So I think we're going to try and take Ollie back at some point.
Yeah. Of places I've been to, Dubai. I'd like to go to Sri Lanka, but of places I've been to, definitely Dubai.
Yeah.
If you had a bucket list, what would the top 3 things be on it?
Ooh.
I think I'd like to win OSG. I can't see it ever happening, but I'd like that. I would like to beat Donamo's open powerlifting record. World record.
What's her word?
235 or 237.5.
So that's in powerlifting.
That's the BPU.
So the British Powerlifting Union. So at some point, I think Donna competed in the Andy Bolton Deadlift Challenge and set the open record at 235. So that's why Sue's training for deadlift is always kept very much powerlifting. So there's never any hitching, there's never any straps. So although she does strongwoman, she keeps that powerlifting emphasis because at some point she wants to sort of come and take that record. So
does Donna know this?
She does now.
You know what? I think Donna would say yes, go for it. I
know. She'll be cheering you on anyway.
We love Donna. She's our favourite, and she's lovely.
Yeah, I don't think she'd be bothered, but I think that's the first time we've ever come out and said it in the open.
I've actually qualified to do the BPU this year, but I don't know if it's going to happen this year. I'm not sure if I got it in me this year, to be honest. But there's always next year, isn't there?
Yeah.
So, you know, 55 is a good age to break an open record, I think.
You're right.
So if I keep going the rate I'm going, maybe I'll do it in May in body power. But
we haven't ruled out the Masters World Record, which is held by Kristen Rhodes. So we haven't ruled that out, but obviously that would take training and a peak, and you don't train and peak very well, do you? So, you know,
but,
there's all the
it's also Rhiannon at one stage has mentioned getting me into a deadlift suit, because obviously the master strong woman and stuff like that. But I don't know. I like doing it the powerlifting ways, you know. I can't use straps. I have tried. I cannot use straps. Same as Aisha. She's exactly the same, isn't she? So, you know, no, I can't do it.
Yeah, bucket list though. I don't know if I've got. I don't know. Never really thought about it. I'd want to win OSG as well. Yeah, no, I don't know. I'd have to think about that, get back to you.
You can send that over to me another day.
Yeah. I don't want to win the lottery at all. It would be nice. It would be nice to win some money, I suppose, just to see us for, you know, to make sure Ollie was okay and through uni and stuff like that. But I wouldn't want to be minted, so I don't want to win the lottery.
But you could win the park lottery, the Euro Millions. That's not really the lottery.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. I could set up my own strong woman corporation. Could I put money in with prize money? We'll do that.
That's it. Yeah. I like that. That's a good bucket list.
I like that. Yeah,
we could do that. And I think my last one is compete alongside you, Nick. Okay.
Yes.
We'll say that again.
Together. My last one is to compete with you.
Oh, thank you. I'd be class. Okay. That'd be class. I'd love to compete with you this year, maybe.
Let's arrange it. Let's sort it. When we get our corporation, we'll do it. All right.
That sounds cool. So are you an early bird or a late owl? Night owl. Late owl.
Oh,
night owl.
No, we're in bed by 8:30.
Oh yes, no way.
Yeah.
Wish I was in bed by that time.
Yeah, we take a yogurt to bed, don't we? Usually.
Oh.
And we watch either serial killer or the pottery. And Ollie's like, "You two in bed, good night then," and he goes to bed.
If you're good when you do it, the end so we're in bed at 8:30 and watch great pottery throwdown, and that's it. I'm an early bird. I like to get up and get my day. I get up and go for a walk in the morning, but when I first started going to the gym, I'd be in the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning. So I'm definitely an early bird. Yeah, but we love our early nights.
Favorite superhero?
I think I've got one.
Oh, I don't think I've got one.
Super Sam.
Love it. Super Sam and Super Sue.
Our capes are in the wash today. Okay.
We get a wash on the Sunday.
I have been known to wear my knickers on the outside once or twice, you know. But
be your own superhero. Yeah. That's
well, at least you wear knickers. It could be worse. Your favorite fancy dress?
Oh. Well. Have you seen? I don't think I've posted it. So in lockdown, me and some of my workmates, we were doing like funny dress up videos on a Saturday night, that bit of a dance off thing, and they got quite competitive. We've all got a bit of a competitive streak. So I dressed up as Freddie Mercury in one. I dressed up as Keith Flint from The Prodigy. Axel. I'll post them on Facebook. We are friends on Facebook, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll post them on Facebook.
The Wurzels.
The Wurzels, yeah.
Guns and Roses. But the funniest thing is, we got Ollie involved in it as well. So whatever Sam did, he did as well. So when they did The Prodigy, he was the child prodigy. So it's a really good one.
Yeah, I'll post them on Facebook. They always give everyone a bit of a laugh, so it's, no harm in posting them again. I'll post them on Facebook. They were good. But yeah, they were funny.
I don't really do fancy dress. I'm not that sort of, no.
I loved it. The Freddie Mercury video where he dressed as a woman. So there's me dressed as Freddie Mercury, dressed as a woman, which makes it really bizarre.
Yeah, I'm not really into the fancy dress things.
No, not. No. You didn't do any of them, did you?
No way to film them.
That's
right. Your favorite gym day?
Saturday. Deadlift day.
Deadlift day. What about you, Sam?
I like log. So
log.
Stones and log.
Yeah.
Deadlift takes a lot of mental prep for me, so which tires me out. So yeah, stones and log.
We can really dip into the deadlifting as well. I'll just walk in and pick it up, and Sam has to prepare the day and really mentally get to,
Yeah, my deadlift training session on Saturday starts on Friday night. I start sort of going through it in my head, and so yeah, we train very differently. We prep for our training sessions very differently. But yeah, I preferred log and stone.
Cool. Your favourite city?
Oh. I don't really. I've grown out of cities.
Yeah,
that's why we're moving from one. But
I prefer more rural. I got to be honest. I mean, Dubai was amazing. Dubai at night is amazing.
But I don't know if I could live. You know, I don't know if I could sort of live in that environment. In fact, we're moving out of the city in a couple of weeks. We're just done with it. You know, we want a bit of a quiet life and get away from sort of, you know, get away from it all a little bit. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I like visiting. I like visiting London, and I like visiting Dubai. But yeah,
your wee country bumpkins.
Yeah,
I lived in London for a little while when I was younger, and it was too fast for me. I liked the home life, and you know, I didn't like double-decker buses, tubes, and oh my god, no, none of that. You know, you can't drive anywhere. Yeah, unless you're pulling, yeah. But you can't drive anywhere; it's all too busy. And I think we're finding that in Cardiff now, aren't we? Yeah. You know,
you do you like to get into a car and drive just for sometimes it's just good to get away from everything, isn't it?
I've got to be honest, we loved Belfast when we came over, wasn't it, to UK's last year. We loved Ireland, and we want to see more of Ireland, I think. So I think that's definitely going to be.
Oh yeah, I did.
Yeah, you can get up to Portstewart to me if I'm still living here.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Take you down around the beach and all, and Causeway and.
Giant Causeway. Because like last year, I wish we'd come for longer, wasn't it? We didn't realise quite how much there was because Ollie is Titanic mad, so we did the Titanic Museum, we did the port, then we stayed on the quarter and that was lovely, wasn't it? But I wish we'd booked for a week, I've got to be honest. So next time we come, it will be for a week.
I was probably a bit ignorant about Ireland, if I'm honest. The only thing I've ever heard is sort of all the troubles and stuff. So when we were on the bus going from the airport to Belfast, they had like the touristy information screen on there, and I was like, I didn't realise, you know, the Giant's Causeway, and I didn't realise it was so beautiful. So we said
and Derry is lovely to go to too. Even just going, I know it's only a wall, but the Derry city wall and all down there is really nice as well.
We like that.
Yeah, so we're gonna visit and you know, have a little holiday there.
Yeah, I know. Like I even take here for me about a granted too. Sometimes I just don't like it, and then I'm like, when I look around, it is actually nicer than what it is. But you never appreciate your own place, don't you know?
We're the same in Wales. I mean, there's some places in Wales that are absolutely stunning, the Brecon Beacons and stuff like that. You know, for miles it's nothing, you know, and it is gorgeous, isn't it? But it's on your doorstep, you don't appreciate it.
No, you definitely don't. Your favorite other sport?
Eating.
Eating. I love it. Yeah, it is actually a sport in America.
I live in America. Steak and pancakes.
All you can eat buffets and all you can eat dinners and that would be mine too.
Are there other sports other than strongman? I quite like the Olympics. I quite like, you know, watching all the different sort of disciplines in the Olympics, and sort of doing a sport to the level that we do, it kind of gives you an insight of what it takes. So I think I got more appreciation for
love watching the weightlifting. The weightlifting is amazing. There's a little girl, I think she's only about 8, and I've been watching her, and she's fantastic. She's absolutely amazing. She's breaking American records all over the place. Do you know what I mean? So I like watching that.
Yeah, I used to like watching the football and the rugby and tennis. But yeah, I think I find a new appreciation for Olympic athletes now and what they have to put themselves through.
Yeah. The best performance that sticks out in your head doesn't have to be a strong woman or just anything. The performance that you're most proud of.
I think mine is strong woman. I think it's that deadlift I did, that 240. I think because I've been so ill, it was such a worry. I've been out of hospital and stuff. And I think for me to pull it out of the bag like that, I was really proud of myself, sort of thing, you know.
Yeah.
Just for getting back out there after being warned you shouldn't really do it. It's like, oh no, you're not gonna run my life. So I think that 240 deadlift for me.
Yeah, for me, I think probably UK's, because to get invited to that was just phenomenal. And then you sit there and you think, oh, I've got no chance against Donna, I've got no chance against, and then I had to adjust my mindset. It's like, well, you know you're not going to win, you know you're probably not going to get on the podium, but when else will you get the chance to sort of compete next to Donna Moore and, you know, the other amazing athletes that were there. So I looked at that competition very, very differently. So I'm proud really that I got through to the second day for a start, you know, and I came ninth. So yeah, probably that one really.
Cool.
Because it was sort of, you know, being invited exclusively to sort of represent your country. You know, you didn't have to qualify, or, you know, you were hand chosen, and, you know, I was really quite proud of that. Because
there's only two Welsh, wasn't it? You and Rebecca.
Yeah. And Sue was reserve, so I wasn't allowed to pull out. Every time I kept threatening to pull out, it's like, oh, you did.
On day one, they were turning up. I was marking them off. Please turn up.
Yeah, so I think that one.
So the next one then is, who is your greatest of all time strong woman and strong man?
Can I have two strong women?
No, that's
fine.
I think I have probably about the same sort of respect for Donna and Rhiannon, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
For completely different reasons, but obviously my hero in it all is Sam. It has to be because of I know it's because of what she went through and stuff like that, and to become the person she is, and obviously, you know, she's my wife, and
that's 3 as well.
Oh, sorry, I have 2.5. Rhiannon's only a half, isn't she? She's only 11 inches. But yeah, strong man.
Oh, yeah, tough on that, isn't it?
I think Mark Felix, one, because of his age, 2, because he just keeps on going. He's like a Duracell man, isn't he? Really?
He's so quiet as well.
Yeah, and of course we've got to say Terry Holland, because obviously he's your nutritionist. We have to say Terry,
he'll be loving you guys now.
Yeah. He's like, who are they? You know? Yeah, it's harder than male. I love Big Laws as well. Because of he's such a character. Liz and Laws, you can't be.
Oh, they are. You know. And you just got mugs belonging to them, didn't you?
Yeah. But I think we spent quite a lot of time chatting in Daytona Beach, didn't we, with Liz and that. Do you know what I mean? She's amazing. And of course, he was doing the voiceovers and stuff, wasn't he?
Yeah.
The commentary, whatever you call it. Yeah. So that was nice as well. So when we come back, we had a mug, didn't we? So,
I would love to get Liz on this someday.
Do you know
I'll have to say this. So she's watching and she sees it. She's going to contact me. And I just can feel it in my bones.
Message her Instagram and ask her. She'd love it. She's amazing.
Yeah, we want to be on this, so maybe it's a, you know.
Yeah,
we'll sort it out, innit? Get us on, Laws and Liz.
I'll send her a message and send us wee clip over to her and all these and want to
yeah, she'd love it. She'd love it, honestly.
So lovely. It was great actually to have someone like Liz at OSG, because not that OSG is so focused on the men, but I mean, like, you know, the sport in general focuses a lot on the men, doesn't it? So it was nice to have Liz there, and although she was sort of interviewing everyone, male and female, it was nice to have like a woman there, you know, taking the time to sort of, you know, ask you how you're getting on and ask the other girls. So it was really nice to have that female sort of presence backstage for the girls, and, you know, I think a lot of the girls got a lot from Liz being there.
Yeah, definitely.
And you know, it doesn't even have to be, you know, she doesn't have to be a competitor. She doesn't have to have competed, you know.
Because she understands too, from both, like from the other perspective as well, how much hard work goes into it too.
She's a big part of it, isn't she? So it's good.
Yeah, definitely. But I certainly, it was nice, you know, having her there, you know, somebody you could sort of chat to, and it was
what fascinates me as well is her knowledge of the sport.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That the events and who's won them, and you know, she knows it all, doesn't she?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I can't even remember my name sometimes, never mind.
Yeah. When you'll tell me something in 5 minutes, I've forgotten in 10. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm dreadful. I can't remember what I've done, never mind anyone else.
It was quite funny when Laws was doing this rundown in the run up to UK's about the competitors, you know, and like Big Laws said my name on YouTube. I was like, oh my god, Big Laws said my name.
I actually think I was watching that. You put in a comment under it as well, didn't you?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we sort of sit there like watching their live and we're like, well, what should we say? We look like stalkers. no. But for me, I think when I first Googled, I didn't even realise when I started doing it there was a World's Strongest Woman. So when I first sort of Googled strong woman, like Donna came up. So I followed Donna quite a bit, and then obviously got to meet her and then compete with her. So for me, I think Donna, just because she was the first strong woman, I sort of realised there was, and then of course like Sue's Rhiannon, just seeing her. And of course,
dedication.
We see her so much more now. We've got a gym with it. We see her nearly every day, and to see her training and her work ethic, and what she puts in, it's just phenomenal. I mean, I don't know if there's another strong woman who's putting in as much work and time and effort as Rhiannon does. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, because there seems to be something on every time I'm on the page. There's always something on.
Yeah,
competition or something coming up or.
Yeah, but she's training for her own events as well. So
and she's
she's got 4 baby dogs, haven't she? You know what I mean? And they're a massive life, aren't they, with Luke as well? So and the thing is, she's up sticks to move to Wales now, and she seems to be working harder because she's got to go back to Preston, and you know what I mean. So her work ethic is second to none.
Yeah. So sort of motivation wise, you can be having not a bad day or. Not a bad day, but like, I want a day off, I'm tired, I can't be arsed, and you get that message from Rhiannon, and you're just like, right, we're off, let's go.
We did it last weekend. It was last Sunday. It was a little bit like, oh, can we be arsed today? It was one of them. And she's like, right, bitches, they're for events at 12:30. We were there at 12:30. Do you know what I mean? Oh yeah, come on, let's go, wasn't it? And it's sometimes the motivation you need to go and train is, and I mean, we've got this big gym, and there's like, I think there's 5 different rooms, isn't there? And we'll find that the 4 of us will train in the one room. We'll bring all the stuff in and
drag all the equipment in and train in, like, one of the small rooms. We're all like, stepping over each other and stepping over each other's log and deadlift and sharing weights and stuff. Even though we've got like 4 other rooms to go and train in, we all like to be in that little room training together. But but she's just, what she does is just phenomenal.
Yeah, she is world class. Like, she's class.
Absolutely.
I'll get her on this podcast today sometime soon too.
Yeah,
just been flat. I'm almost too feared to ask because I know how busy she is.
Yeah, you know what? She would fit you in, honestly. She's, for the female side of the sport, she's so good, and she'll always make time for you.
Yeah. Where was I? Favorite cheat meal. I know it's different from your other meal.
That's a hard one because we eat really what we want is just in moderation, in it.
Well, for now, my new nutritionist just messaged me back while we're on. So.
Oh, did she?
Yeah, we eat what we want for now.
I gotta be honest, I do like kebab, a doner kebab. And I like a doner kebab.
Your nutritionist will be watching this back, and she'll be watching this question very, very tightly, Sam.
That's why I haven't said anything.
Okay, I'll have Sam's as well. It's fine.
I like a burger. That's a classic cheap meal, though, isn't it? But we got in a really nice fish and chip shop where we live. We like that. Well, obviously, we're leaving that behind when we moved, but that's nice.
Yeah.
The person you most admire.
Sam.
Oh.
And it's like, people are going to say, you got to say that because she's a wife. No, I do. I admire everything she does, everything she, her work ethic as well. So, and to come from such a low place, knowing what she's been through, and to come back up,
Oh, can I have 2? So one is
no.
You cheated. One would be my nan. Although she passed away in 2008, she really was my hero. She went through so much in her life, and she never gave up. So there's a lot of my nan in me and what I do, but and this is going to sound like I got to say this now because she said me, but Sue, because it's breaking down barriers all the time. A lot, like she said, a lot of women will message her and go, "Oh, but I'm too old," and she's like, "No, you're not." And in terms of, because a lot of the older strong women who are in it now have been doing it for a while. People like Kristen Rhodes, and Sue's come into it at 50 and started at 50, and I think that takes a lot of guts. I went to a training day with my work once, and they were talking about activities for the over 50s, and it was like flower pressing and you know,
bookbinding, wasn't it?
Bookbinding and flower pressing.
Can you imagine me sitting there?
Sorry, I can't help but laugh. I could just imagine you bookbinding, Sue.
I was absolutely horrified. And somebody said, "Oh, what age can we start this?" And they were like, "Oh, 50 plus." And I was like, "My wife is about to set the British deadlift record at 52." Because I think you were 51 or 52 then, weren't you? And you're putting 50-year-old women in boxes where they want to press flowers. But I was horrified, you know. So yeah, Sue, because again, breaking down those barriers for women and those expectations of what 50-year-old women should be doing or shouldn't be doing, you know.
Oh, don't get me wrong, man. When I've got DOMs, I want a bookbind. I don't want to. Give me the book.
Do a wee bit of knitting.
It's like, you know, when I can't get off my ass because my glutes are so bloody active. I'm like, get me the flower pressing kit, babe.
Oh God. Where am I? Your favorite animal?
I got budgie, so I guess I budgie.
I like all animals.
There's a butt coming in.
But they're such a tie, aren't they? You know what I mean? We're not a kid, innit?
It's not giving you an animal. She's asked what your favourite animal. If you commit into anything, it's not going to turn up with like a couple of sheep or anything.
I like birds, I think.
Yeah, we want to, when we retire, we're going to have a parrot.
Yeah, I like parrots. Parrots are good.
Only because we want to teach it to swear.
I'd love a parrot that shouts prick to everyone that walks past. I'm going to put it in the window, open the window, and everyone walks past, prick, prick. That's all I want.
Yeah.
Oh God.
That
was so funny.
Yeah, Sue bought me a budgie for my 40th birthday, and he's called Arnie.
Oh, he's lovely.
Yeah, he's lovely.
Do you put the skeleton up beside him?
Yeah.
We actually bought a bird skeleton, didn't we?
Yeah.
A plastic one, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was there over Christmas by his cage on it.
Yeah.
We still haven't come across the human-sized skeleton to send you yet, but when I find one, I'll send it over.
Really expensive.
Aren't they?
We've got a few people on the case looking for us, but I hope it was gutting actually, because the same day as we put it on Facebook, we were looking for one of my friends that works in a school said, "Oh my God, we've just literally just got rid of one," and they just chucked it, you know. So I was fuming. We will have one.
You can always go to the mortuary in the closest hospital and ask if somebody wants to donate their bones to you.
We were in a vintage and antique place because Ollie loves sort of World War II, so he doesn't like, you know, normal kids shopping and what normal kids buy. He likes buying, you know, World War II memorabilia. So we went to this one in Cardiff and there was skeletons in there and they were like £400. And I was like, good God, you know, I'd love a skeleton to dress up and be stupid with. And then
we saw the price and it was like, oh, maybe we'll have a look on Facebook.
Yeah, I said, oh, well, we'll leave that. And the guy who was selling them, he said, well, you know, you could get a real life one for a couple of £1,000. And we were like, a real life skeleton? How can you? Surely that's illegal to have like an actual, you know, real.
It's only illegal if they're famous, or what is it? It's only illegal if they're famous or they're like a king or a queen or something.
Oh, it's all a bit macabre, isn't it? I want a plastic one.
I'm not sure if the real one would smell a bit as well.
You know.
So anyway, with this guy, we sort of made a joke about digging one up out the garden, and I don't think he knew if we were serious or not, so we just sort of scuttled out the door.
But he just said really quietly, "We get good money for that," he said, and then
yeah, but we haven't had it yet. Mainly because I don't want to pay £400 for
You better be careful, Sam. If Sue brings home duct tape and everything, like, you know what she's going to be doing.
Oh, yeah.
If you go missing in a few weeks' time, I'll have this as proof.
I need to replace the patio because obviously we live in a rented house and we were doing Atlas stones in lockdown. We've broken all the patios, so I need to replace that. So I'm a bit worried about what I can find under there. But if it's a skeleton, I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah, we'll have that. We just put it to massive. Off it.
You'll only get to keep it if you don't declare it.
Yeah. Don't think it's on Facebook, is it? Yeah. Got a skeleton.
Yeah. I know him.
I can't believe we got onto that subject after just asking you your favorite animal. So where am I? Your favorite event? I think we've probably covered that on a a favourite gym day? Yours would be stones and log and deadlift. Is that the same for that? Yeah. And then just the last one, your favourite season?
Oh,
Summer.
Yeah,
no rain.
I'd give anything with some sunshine and a nice tan and stuff, you know.
I was definitely born to live in a warmer climate.
Me too.
And that concludes all our questions then today, ladies. Thank you so much for coming on. It has been an absolute ball.
Thank you for having me.
And we'll get a part 2 hopefully sometime, and we'll talk more about skeletons. Hopefully by then you have found a skeleton. They're hanging right behind you, dressed up as what do you call it? Who'd you dress up as again?
Freddie Mercury.
Freddie Mercury, yeah.
Well, we'll do that. If we get one, we'll dress him up for you, Nick, and we can come back on.
Yeah, class.
Absolutely.
Thank you for listening. Now don't forget to subscribe and ring that wee bell. Ding-ling!